Wanted to start off by saying congratulations on such a fantastic album.
Thank you so much. I'm happy and I'm glad that you like it.
So, I also wanted to start off by asking a little bit about the title, The Last Viking. It is a title that really brings up emotions and brings up some thoughts. Tell us a little bit about what story you wanted to tell with this album, The Last Viking.
Well, the concept of The Last Viking is like about the Norse king Harald III, which was called half ruler, like Hardrada. And he actually was meant to be like the last Viking or the last Norse king. As in 1066, after he died at Stamford Bridge for the fight and battle of the English throne, the Viking Age came to an end. So it was a very decisive moment for history itself. And for us, as a band, Leaves Eyes, we love to work with the Norse mythology. So let's say a spiced up version of history.
Yeah.
With all the adventures and all the fantastic tales about heroes like Hardrada. So, and I guess, the saga of Hardrada is maybe the most epic Viking saga there is, because it's not taking place at one territory. So he has to flee as a young Viking from Norway. He has to flee from battle as a young boy. As a refugee, he went to Sweden, all the way down to the land of the Rus, to Kiev, serving for the Rus king Yaroslav, making a name there. And with his men, he even went to the Byzantine Empire, to Miklagard, which is called Istanbul nowadays, and served at their court as a Varangian guard, as a mercenary, for the emperor and the empress.
Wow.
And becoming a big war hero there. So it's far away from the north. He had glorious battles in Sogdian, the land of the Saracens, even all the way down to Jerusalem, at the Mediterranean Sea, at Bulgaria, and becoming a war hero, becoming rich, and having a lot of adventures, but also there's some drama in there also, as a kind of, if you want to call it, a love story, or unfulfilled love, because the Empress was after him too, and after he rejected her, he was falling in love with the Russian queen, actually, when he was serving for the Rus king. So, on his daughter, So he actually was imprisoned, had to flee in a spectacular way from Byzantium, and was getting married to the Russian queen Elizabeth. Went all the way back to Norway, became Norse king, fighting for the Danish and the English crown. So wow, it's like a tour through the Viking world, and it's spectacular. For us, it's great, because as musicians we have all these completely different backgrounds, cultures and landscapes and situations to write such an epic concept album.
Yeah, definitely. And those different cultures, how did you make sure that they were all represented in each of the tracks as well?
Yeah, if you listen to Sogdian, for example, you can hear that at the start of the song, and also when you are, how you say that, in the mood with all the instrumentations, for example, we use like nyckelharpa and other natural instruments like fiddle and flutes on top of the rock band, let's say.
Yep.
And that's a perfect way for us, also with the classical background of the band, with the choirs and everything, just to adapt the situation of the story, of the storyline. So for us, it was like, if you make a movie or something, and that's why we try with the videos as well, to bring the visual effect to the fans, so they can really dive into the whole thing.
I wanted to ask a little bit about the instruments that you use, because you use a lot of instruments out there that a lot of people perhaps haven't even heard of before. How do you go about discovering different instruments, and how do you work out where they fit into each track?
As an example, I pick out the nyckelharpa because it's probably a Scandinavian instrument, not so familiar to everybody. And it happens that we have probably the most iconic nyckelharpa player from Germany, who also is friend of Richie Blackmore. And when he plays with Blackmore's Night, he's actually also there, Thomas Roth, and he's living in my city.
Yeah.
Or little town, let's say. And the mayor of the town was giving me a hint once and brought us together. And we actually worked with other nyckelharpa players before, but that was great now for Son of the Dragonhead and the Last Viking to work with him. And then, of course, it's great, when you work with such great guest musicians, to figure out what would suit the best, what would sound the best. For example, to create this Nordic kind of dark atmosphere. When you listen, for example, to the intro of the album.
Yeah.
And that is for us something we always like to work with, also with the big drums and percussion, to get this Viking feel, to get the vibe into the songs. Or also like this way we use whistles and also fiddle. We use a fantastic fiddle player from Ruskaya, the band Ruskaya. Lea Sophie is a fantastic violin and fiddle player. So to create this atmosphere, we are also using this kind of instrumentation, and of course the choirs. I mean, that's always very fascinating also to what this atmosphere is coming up when you're using big choirs, of course.
Yeah. Is putting the choir together and getting them to perform, is that the hardest part of the album? Because I've heard other artists talk about that, and they say that is what takes the most amount of time and effort, is putting that choir together and bringing them into the studio.
But we work with people since years, which we know and we know how to arrange it. So, of course, it's always a big effort of work. And we also worked with the London Voices in the past, the guys who are in Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and these blockbuster movies. But now, to the pandemic situation, we had to work around that, and we have people here and section-wise bring them together, even sing ourselves in the choirs. And also we have like this, I call it Viking choir,
Yeah.
like this more harsh gang of people singing together. And it's always also a lot of fun to work these ideas out.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about your documentary, Viking Spirit. Tell us a little bit about that. And I also wanted to ask, Vikings in pop culture, in movies and television, how often do you watch that and see them get it completely wrong?
That's a really cool question. First of all, besides that I'm a metal singer, I'm also a sword fighter, and I take this very serious. So I go to trainings like every week. I go to events, I go to camps, I go to tournaments, I do even arena fighting, going to big battles. For example, in Wallin, the biggest more modern Viking battle there is, with 800 warriors on the field, full contact fighting, like really brutal stuff. But I'm also a member of the Jomsborg Brotherhood, which is the biggest modern Viking army there is. So we are spread out around the globe, and it's like a multinational brotherhood. And but it's not only about that. It's also about like the whole background, the lifestyle, the Viking lifestyle, living the history, shutting down modern life, shutting down all devices at the campfire, talk to each other, and everybody is the same, like wearing authentic clothes, and there are ecologists also involved in the scene, and of course history nerds, and all kinds of people. And so the documentary was filmed in a period of 5 years, and I want to invite the metal family to visit my Viking family, let's say.
Yeah.
And have a look into that too, and introduce them to them. And regarding this, blockbusters and TV series or whatever it is, I'm not watching all of that, but sometimes you just wonder why they're messing around with the clothing, why they mess around with the sagas itself, and make it in a different way. Sometimes also a little bit cheesy and stuff. Well, I don't want to criticize anyone or whatever. I just think, like, if you have the budget and everything, and you can transfer like the real history, or at least the spiced up version of it, which are the sagas, with all the great things included. Yeah, I wish sometimes they would stick more to the original mythology than to fantasy stuff.
How much hard work goes into your video clips? Because your video clips are so authentic. How much hard work goes into getting those video clips so they are so authentic?
I mean, it starts already with the clothing and everything, all the details in the weapons. For example, now the Chain of the Golden Horn video, we were looking for like the helmets, the weapons, and everything from the Byzantine Empire, for example, and we know a lot of reenactors also from the way they do Byzantine, Slavic, Rus, Norsemen, and other kinds of reenactments than only Viking.
Yeah.
So as the story is based in Byzantium, we even had a craftsman crafting the crown of the Empress Sori for the video itself. So there's a lot of effort in there, like from the jewelry, from the clothing to the weapons and everything, to make it the best way as possible. I mean, we are not Hollywood, and we are not having millions of dollars to do our videos. But I think it turned out pretty good for that.
They do. They look absolutely spectacular. And I've got to ask as well about your songwriting process. Tell us a little bit about that process, because it's historically accurate, but you are able to create such great music from that. So tell us a little bit about the songwriting process and how you actually go about bringing a song together after you've gone through and done all the research from history.
Yeah, that is quite like this foundation. When we start a new record, there's like an idea behind it, or vision, what will be next. And so that in this case even was like Sign of the Dragonhead, last song, Waves of Euphoria, was like already including the Hardrada saga. So for a die-hard Leafs Ice fan, it was like a perfect hint to, what's coming next? Will they do an album about him then? And yeah, for us, when we write music, we have like this vision in front of us, and know that we have to write like it, or when the saga demands epic songs, keep it that way. we write epic metal songs, of course, but also like with the storyline, there's like some moments which are more quiet or more atmospheric. So that's really cool to have that in mind when you do songs. And of course, like the title track, The Last Viking, is like about 10 minutes long, I think, with all like on a roller coaster, all the dynamics you can get out of this band is probably involved there. Like with a very dark intro, then you have like punchy metal riff, and then you're having like these epic choirs and the contrast of the two vocalists like Elena and me having like this the war of voices beauty the sometimes it's just a simple melody we start with, or a great guitar riff, or even rhythm-wise, some great beats are like the first layer, and then we go from there. So it just really depends what you have in mind. I remember for Victory, I started with this rhythm, and I wanted to have this kind of most a powerful, speedy metal song, and at the same time having like this catchy melody on top of it. So yeah, it's just great fun writing songs like and music like that.
Awesome. Well, it has turned out to be an absolutely fantastic album. I know we are running out of time, so I'll just ask two quick questions. First of all, how frustrating is it having this great album and not being able to get out and tour at the moment?
For us, it's absolutely a new situation, because we are used to like for all the other musicians too, but to release an album, not to go out to play, not even a release show. And we had a plan to play the first show at Summer Breeze Open Air in front of 40,000 people.
Oh, wow.
So, and then the album had to be rescheduled because we couldn't travel anymore and do the videos. We actually were also in a studio lockdown, while other colleagues, they were stranded somewhere on tour in foreign countries and couldn't go back home and stuff. So, yeah, we only played 2 shows this year. They were on the cruise, 70,000 tons of metal, which is a perfect start. We were, of course, looking forward to 2020 with a new album release, with a new tour and festivals and all that. And then suddenly you stand there and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Suddenly everything turns upside down. It's madness. But I can tell you something. When we were really in a studio lockdown for 6 weeks, like the whole band was here. It was all stripped down to one thing. It was like our friendship and our music. It's like with the metal family. We also had really the goal, although everything is going crazy, we want to go through this. We want to have our album done. We want to bring it out. Maybe a little bit later, but in this year, for the people as well. Everyone is supporting everyone in this metal scene. And I hope the metal family can enjoy the new album and that we can bring in some light into the darkness with that.
Definitely. And I know a lot of people here are looking forward to this album. We're in a lockdown now that's lasted over 200 days. So there's a lot of people out there looking forward to new music. And I guess that's how I'd like to finish off the interview. Is there anything you would like to say to your Australian fans out there before they go out and grab a copy of the album?
Just can tell you that we are very grateful and thankful, and we love you all, and we miss you all. And there were plans for a round trip that we would do to Australia and Japan. We try to make this happen as soon as possible, that we're going to meet everyone. Until then, I really do hope that everyone is enjoying The Last Viking and also the documentary. And yeah, check it out, and we hope that you have a great time with our new releases.
Definitely. Alex, thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Stay safe, and hopefully we get to see you in 2021.
Yeah, hopefully, and fingers crossed, and to everyone, stay safe. Thank you so much.
Definitely. You have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Okay,
bye.
bye.